Because as you know, we burden our bureaucrats, we burden junior people to sit across the night for them to make decisions at 4 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 2 a.m. when us as heads of state have left. I mean, a decision where the real decision makers don't make the decisions. Instead, they leave it to their juniors. Is an organization that will not succeed. We must change the Africa Union so that it does business on behalf of the 1.4 billion people in our continent.
In a very powerful speech coming from the president of Kenya. You know, take it or leave it, President Ruto is a very smart guy. He's very intelligent, but unfortunately, no matter how intelligent or smart you are, if you decide to dine with the devil, as President Ruto once did, then people will question your intelligence or your sincerity. And I think that is the reason why the youth of Africa are questioning the sincerity of President Ruto. But love him or hate him, he is a smart guy. I want us to go and watch the very powerful and smart speech that he gave. I think he was in Burundi. Let's watch it, come back and talk about it. But before we do that, please, if you are coming across us for the first time, we are One Africa Mission, the #1 Africa Mission. We are on a mission to unite the continent of Africa, because for us, we believe that with all these brilliant ideas, if we fail to unite the continent of Africa, it can never be materialized. We can give this good speeches as President Ruto gave here, but if we don't fight for a united Africa, then the implementation or the ideas will never be realized. So let us all come together and fight for a united Africa. That is why we are here. So if you are coming across us for the first time, please don't hesitate to share what we are doing. Also like it, pass your comments. Those of you passing your comments, we are really learning a lot from you. I would rather prefer you pass your comments, even if you disagree with me, than to just watch without passing your comments. So let's watch President Ruto come back and talk about it.
Change the Africa Union so that it does business on behalf of the 1.4 billion people in our continent. Mr. Chairman, it doesn't make sense that we have an organization that starts a meeting at 8 in the morning one day, a meeting that ends 8 in the morning the next day, across the night. And the most important decisions are left to technocrats at 2 a.m. in the morning. I mean, surely. Number two, an organization that is not accountable is an organization that has the chance to fail.
Yes, so the president talked about an organization that is not accountable, and he's referring to the African Union, which is very true. As I said, our leaders know the problem and they have the solutions to solve the problem, but the reality is that they are being controlled by the Western colonial criminals. And until Africa is united, they will continue to have the ideas, but they will never be able to implement it. Because as the president said, the African Union is not accountable to the people of Africa, to the 1.8 billion people, because the population of Africa is not 1.4. 1.8 billion people. The African Union does not account to us as its citizens. Because everything that we are calling for today as Africans, the African Union is aloof. They don't care. We are calling for at least for them to give us, at least if for nothing, one passport.
You have to take a visa in a passport, an African passport, to go to another African country. I'm from Ghana. When I'm going to South Africa, I have to go in the queue in a South African embassy to get just a common visa to visit my own continent. And then somebody that comes from America or from Europe is visa free. Come on. I mean, look, fine. People can accept that and they can embrace that. But for me, it tells me that, you know what? You're far lost and gone. Your nation is being deprived from their rights. They're drowning. You need to save them, but you can't tell them. Just do it.
Just one passport, so that we, the children of Africa, will be able to explore the continent that Mother Nature has given to us. The African Union has passport for its workers. The other day I encountered a lady a queen in Ethiopia. She was holding African Union passport. So she has the opportunity, the privilege to travel around Africa without hustling. But we, the citizens of Africa, who have been calling for at least, if for nothing, one passport.
Particularly on the passports and the visas, free movement of Africans. Free movement of Africans. I said it once. Maybe you heard me. If you did not, I'll say it again. How can 55 African presidents fail to undo what 5 or 10 Europeans did during the Benin Conference in terms of dividing Africa? So we now have one resolution which we need to push for the next 12 months. And this message, firstly, you're going to tag your president. Secondly, you're going to tag all African Union leaders that you know. I don't care whether it's COMESA, it's SADC, it's ECOWAS, it's what we need. One agenda. And I'm making this challenge to all the leaders up there. You owe us just one thing: free movement of Africans in Africa.
So that it will give us the privilege, the opportunity to travel around the continent and appreciate what is going on in different parts of Africa. The African Union refused to grant us that opportunity because they are not accountable to us. The European Union allowed citizens of Europe to travel around Europe freely. Why is the African Union denying us that opportunity? So, Mr. President, you guys need to push for this. We are calling on you. Let the African Union, as you said, be accountable to us as citizens of Africa. We demand that, and then we need it. We think we deserve it. Let's continue.
Africa Union, there's a complete disconnect between the Pan-African Parliament, which is supposed to be the people's representative to hold the Africa Union Commission to account. But the Commission reports to nobody. Parliament sits in South Africa. They never attend any meeting, and it is completely disconnected. I had a chance, Mr. Chairman, allow me, to meet with the Speaker of the Pan-African Parliament 10 days ago. And we have agreed on what kind of reform do we need to carry out in the Pan-African Parliament.
Yes, almost every institution that we have in Africa need reforms. Every institution need reforms because even the Pan-African Parliament, its headquarters is in South Africa, where xenophobic attacks against other Africans are going on. Can you imagine where the Pan-Africanism, the Parliament of Pan-Africanism is in South Africa, and yet we have xenophobic attacks in South Africa? What is the Pan-African Parliament doing to educate our people in South Africa, to let them know that as Africans, we are one people? So yes, it is true, Mr. President, the Pan-African Parliament also need reforms. But as we keep saying, our reforms can only be materialized even if we reform these institutions. Without power, the colonial criminals will not allow these institutions to work. Because remember, the Pan-African Parliament, anytime they always have fight. They always fight in the Pan-African Parliament. Why? Because the so-called French countries who have majority numbers in the Pan-African Parliament, they always will always have to listen to France, what France will ask them to do before they will take decisions in the Pan-African Parliament. Comrade Julius Malema was fighting with them.
If that is the unity of Africa you are talking about, that power must only circulate in your regions, go on with it. But be aware that you are serving the interest of imperialism that seeks to keep us divided. The unity of this continent will not wait for ratification of anything. Yes. The unity of this continent needs us to apply it as in yesterday. We don't require any ratification of anything for us to be united. And anyone who says we require ratification, that person doesn't know what unity is about. Unity is about us coming together with a paper or no paper. When you see an African saying, this is what will unite
pounds right now.
Point of order. Some years ago, Why? Because when they take decisions for Africa, those from the Francophone countries, they have to go and report it to France before France will tell them what to do. So as we keep saying, until Africa is united, we keep hitting on that, until Africa is united, even if we reform the Pan-African Parliament, still it will not work for the interests of the 1.8 billion Africans. Why? Because it will still be controlled by the Western colonial criminals. So unity is the only solution to the problems of Africa. Let's go and continue with, it was so beautiful, powerful, smart speech by the president of Kenya. But the reality is, or the question is, can we implement it without a united, strong Africa? Let's listen to him.
Today we have 5 representatives from every country. We believe that that number is too big. We need to reduce that number to between 2 and 3. And we need to make the Pan-African Parliament a full-time organization to hold the Commission to account and to make sure that that organization is functional. And finally, Mr. Chairman, and I've taken more time, is also to have the ratification of the Africa Court of Justice so that Africans don't have to be carried to The Hague and other places whenever there are issues in our continent, that we can actually sort out our own issues as a continent whenever there are issues.
So President Ruto also talked about the African Court of Justice and also silencing the gang and stuff like that. He also brought in the United Nations, and that is where our problem is. First of all, why are we signatory to the so-called International Criminal Court of Justice, whatever they call it, whilst, as a matter of fact, the people who are committing crimes against humanity on this planet Earth, they are not signatory to that. And this is America and her allies. They are committing crime against humanity, and yet they are not signatory to that. But they force us as African people to be signatory to that, so that they can bully our leaders to go there, while the criminals, they are not there. They are not a signatory to that. Why are they able to do that to us? It's because they have power over us. And where can we get our power? It's by unity. President Museveni talked about this in one of his speech 63 years ago, or 1963 rather. Our people were already talking about one Africa. And yet, till today, at least the founding fathers of Africa, the OAU, they were able to at least lay down the foundation. Mr. President, why are you people not, why can't you people carry on from where your predecessors left, so that we can achieve a united Africa, so that all these brilliant ideas that you're talking about, can be implemented without anybody interfering us? Why are we signatory to that, the International Criminal Court of Justice, whilst America and her allies are not part of it, even though they form it? They formed the International Criminal Court of Justice. How do they call us? And why do we allow them to bully us into signing into this so-called International Criminal Court of Justice, while they are not part of it? The other day, we all even know what is happening today as we speak. America is against the International Criminal Court of Justice indicting the leadership in Israel. If it was to be in Africa, they would have bullied our leaders, handpicked them, and go and handle them to the so-called International Criminal Court of Justice. There is no any International Criminal Court of Justice. There is no any justice when you don't have power. So let us fight for a united Africa that will give us power, so that we will be able to implement whatever decision or ideas that we have for the good people of Africa. Mr. President, that is what you people should be focusing on, rather than giving us good diction. That the solution of Africa, it is not in good English or good French. It is in uniting the continent of Africa for the collective good of all of us.
That we can also sort out our trade conflicts. And I'm very happy, Mr. Chairman, that finally the UN, because the final thing I want to say is, apart from sorting out our organization, we need to silence the guns that we have always said that we should in our continent. There is still too much conflict, too much instability, too much war all over our continent. It is not possible for us to trade. It discourages investment if we don't have peace, stability, and security in our continent. I am very happy that the UN has now passed a resolution last December that going forward, the Africa Union Peace and Security Council, the AU Fund, will now be funded by assessed contributions of all UN countries so that we can better support countries that have challenges.
Our biggest issues are as African people. Now, Mr. President is happy that the UN has passed a resolution that always try to depend on other people to come to our aid. Why must we wait for the UN to pass a resolution that every country member will contribute to the peace and security of Africa? If that is what we're going to depend on, then we will never have peace in Africa, because the United Nations, they are part of our problems as African people. They are part of our problems because they are being controlled by the colonial criminals. And the colonial criminals, we all know, will never want a stable Africa. The peace and security of Africa will come from us. As we speak today, there's a genocide going on in Mozambique and also in Sudan. What is the African Union doing about it? Why are we not seeing emergency summit to bring an end, to bring peace to Somalia, Nigeria, Mozambique, and critically Sudan as we speak today? There's an ethnic cleansing in Sudan. What is the African Union doing about it? The UN has already failed the world, so we cannot depend on the UN to give us security and peace as African people. So, Mr. President, the security and peace of Africa will only come from our leaders, the citizens of Africa, led by our leaders, not from the UN. I thank you very much for coming around. Please let me know your thought on President Ruto, because I saw on the comment section a lot of people are saying they don't trust him and blah, blah. But I think the president has the opportunity to redeem himself, because he's still young. He still have time to redeem himself as one of Africa's best leaders, because he's smart and he has the potential to do that. But I want to know your thought. Let me know what you think about President Ruto of Kenya. Do you think we can trust what he is saying? Do you think he's sincere of what he's saying? I thank you very much for coming around. Please don't forget, as I'm calling on you again, to subscribe and follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok. Let's take our YouTube channel to 10K subscription. I thank you very much.
Of insecurity, of war, and conflict. It is imperative that we secure our continent, because it's the only way our business people can do trade. It's the only way investors, African or foreign, can invest in our continent. Again, Mr. Chairman, let me say I'm truly grateful. And allow me to say that because my brother Rajalina here has challenged me, that I am requesting for your support for the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, who was also a former AU infrastructure envoy, and he did a wonderful job. As he campaigns to be the next chairman of the Africa Union Commission, I have asked for your support. I will continue to ask for your support. And I'm sure we all believe that in competition, and we say, may the best man or woman win. Thank you very much.